Hey friends, I want to finally catch up for good on all of these reading wrap-ups, so here's the deal. I'm going to upload one every Monday. I don't want to be in the same position that I am now, a year from now, where it's almost the end of the year and I'm talking about books I read at the beginning. They're great books and I love them, but this is getting ridiculous and sad. Anyways, I read 18 books in January and they were also at times ridiculous and sad. In January, I read a variety of genres: children's literature, comics, and adult fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction. Let's start with children's literature, which made up the majority of my reading. This is because I finished reading A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. This is about the Baudelaire children who find themselves hunted by the vicious Count Olaf after their parents die in a tragic fire. I read books 3 through 13 during January, which means I read the titles: The Wide Window, The Miserable Mill, The Austere Academy, The Ersatz Elevator, The Vile Village, The Hostile Hospital, The Carnivorous Carnival, The Slippery Slope, The Grim Grotto, The Penultimate Peril, and The End. Starting off 2021 by reading about these kids overcoming such difficult challenges really made me feel like I was capable of overcoming my own challenges. It was really nice to revisit these books. I'm giving the book series, A Series of Unfortunate Events, 4 stars. As a whole, not going to review each book individually. Moving on to the next genre, comics. The comics I read could also all be classified as children's literature and nonfiction. That's because the comics I read were the popular memoirs by Rachael Ann Pierce. First, I read Smile by Rachael Ann Pierce, which details the author's experience of getting a tooth knocked out after a Girl Scouts meeting. Losing that tooth meant she needed a lot of dental and orthodontic work, so on the surface it is literally about her smile. However, I think this book also does a lot with learning how to deal with toxic friendships and having friends that bully you, and leaving them in order to find people who like you for all of who you are. I think that's really great. I'm giving Smile by Rachael Ann Pierce 3 stars. Next, I read Sisters by Rachael Ann Pierce, which is about a road trip that the author's family took when she was a kid. Having siblings is hard, and trying to build a relationship with someone you have nothing in common with except some DNA is hard. Being trapped in a car with those people is hard. This book reminded me of the long 17-hour car trips between my mom's house and my dad's house as a kid. Those were also very hard. I'm giving Sisters by Rachael Ann Pierce 3 stars. Finally, I finished these books by reading Guts by Rachael Ann Pierce. This one was definitely my favorite of the 3 that I read. This is about having a severe anxiety problem and going to therapy for it, and I really liked this book. I think it's important to normalize getting mental health care. It also shared helpful tips for dealing with your anxiety and gave kids coping mechanisms. I'm giving Guts by Rachael Ann Pierce 4 stars. I had the chance to read one young adult fiction book. This is also kind of a fantasy book, but the young adult fiction book in question is Each of Us, A Desert by Mark Oshiro. This is a book about Xochitl, a child who is the religious leader of her small town, destined to wander the desert alone, speaking her troubled village's stories into its arid winds. And one day, she leaves her village and crosses the desert, hoping to find a way to escape her duties that have been weighing down on her since she was a young child, and a way to free her small village from its recent conquerors. This features Latinx representation and a sapphic relationship. I'm giving Each of Us, A Desert by Mark Oshiro 4 stars. I read 2 more fantasy books in 2021. I'm trying to read all of the Cosmere books by Brandon Sanderson as part of the Cosmere Crabathon. I started this readathon with Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. This book is about a city that used to be magical. 10 years ago, it was the center of society and the source of magic throughout the world. But then the magic mysteriously stopped. Now it's up to the Crown Prince to solve the mystery when he gets infected by the broken magic. Also working to solve the mystery is his fiancée, who he has never met, who is outside trying to figure out a way to navigate court, and a mysterious violent priest who is trying to prevent the desolation of the country by using this broken city as a sacrifice. I'm giving Elantris by Brandon Sanderson 4 stars. I also read the short novella The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. When an art forger gets caught in the middle of a heist, she must use her powers of creation to reshape the Emperor's very soul after a brutal attack leaves him broken. This novella really explains how the magic system and the Cosmere fundamentally works, so if you want to get into the books, I think reading this early is a great idea. I'm giving The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson 3 stars. The last genre I want to talk about is nonfiction. I read They Say, I Say, The Moves That Matter in Academic Writing by Gerald Graff and Kathy Birkenstein. I was told to read this book in college, and then I didn't. But if I had, a lot of my writing would have been a lot tighter, and I wouldn't have needed to do as many revisions to the several papers I wrote in order to get my ideas across. I would definitely recommend this book to anyone who needs to write academic papers or find a way to get their ideas across. I'm giving They Say, I Say by Gerald Graff and Kathy Birkenstein 4 stars. Those are all 18 books I read in January, and thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you watched the whole video, let me know in the comments what your favorite book series is. And if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe, watch another video of mine, or support me on Patreon. And hey, I love you.